president's State of the Union, he devoted a couple sentences to the Middle East peace process, and in one of them he referred to Israel as a Jewish state. Was that an endorsement of the Prime Minister's condition in the peace talks?
The president has spoken frequently about Israel remaining a Jewish and democratic state. He's said it a number of times, so I wouldn't try and read too much into that, except he's making very clear what our position is. I wouldn't read anything into it in terms of any specific policies or discussions as part of the ongoing peace negotiations. He was just making clear what our position is.
Okay, because the actual text of the speech was him saying Palestine will be recognized as a state and it'll achieve dignity, and Israel will receive security.
He has said that multiple times, including during his visit to Israel, including at his AIPAC speech a couple of years ago. It's language he's used a lot and is very clear about what our position is. I wouldn't try and relate it specifically to specifics that are being discussed during the peace process right now.
So, related to this and following on the settlement issue that we talked with Jen about yesterday, I'm wondering if today, after that discussion yesterday, you are able to offer any more, a bit more of a clearer explanation as to why you believe that boycotts of products produced in settlements are delegitimizing of Israel when you yourself believe that Israeli settlements are illegitimate. Is there a better explanation?
Well, as we've said, boycotts directed at Israel are unhelpful and we oppose them. Again, just because we've made clear what our policy is on settlements, that doesn't necessarily follow that there's one course of action from a policy perspective that we think fits what we're concerned about. This is exactly why we think that these issues need to be discussed at the negotiating table and that we need to get a final status agreement. There's just not a one-size-fits-all that if we believe A, B should necessarily follow.
Well, okay, fair enough. But I guess what I don't understand is why you believe that a boycott of products made in settlements would be delegitimizing of Israel when in fact they're being made in settlements which are contested areas that you believe the occupation of which is illegitimate.
Okay, right. I'm sorry. I'm trying.
I just don't understand.
Sorry, I don't want to get tied up in the words.
I'm having
here.
A problem with the logic.
Well, we think that boycotts are unhelpful of Israel, and we oppose them because we believe that in order to resolve these issues, we need to discuss them directly between the two parties at the negotiating table, and that kind of action isn't helpful to part of that process. That's part of the reason that we oppose them.
Well, I guess it's not directed at Israel. It's directed at a private company operating a settlement. And if you say you oppose boycotts of Israel because you don't think they're helpful, then
But it's directed at a company because of Israeli policies.
Well, yeah,
or Israeli government policies.
People are free to buy or not buy whatever product they want to, right? I mean,
correct.
When you say when you say that boycotts are not helpful, boycotts of Israel are not helpful, it just raises a giant flag when you look at Joe's question, when the entire world, with the exception of one other country, thinks that your boycott/embargo of Cuba is wrong and unhelpful. Why it is that you have this position that that's okay, but then something to display another country trying to display its displeasure with Israeli policy, that's not helpful. What I don't understand is if you believe that the settlement activity is illegitimate yourself, and by you I mean the United States.
Yep.
How is it that you oppose other people who share that view taking some kind of action to demonstrate their unhappiness or to protest?
Well, each situation is different, obviously. When we're talking about how to respond policy-wise when we disagree with policies in one country, I think part of the nature is the across-the-board boycott of Israel on some of these issues, certainly. Again, I'm happy to check with our folks, Matt. I think a trade embargo in Cuba is obviously very, very, very different than boycotts of Israel that we do not believe are the way to resolve these issues. We don't think it's helpful to the process. We believe that these issues need to be discussed between the two parties, and that's how we're going to get some resolution on them, not through boycotts of Israel.
Okay,
I'm happy to see if there's more
Okay,
analysis.
but,
I'm sorry.
I understand, but I just, hold on, Russell, one more thing. How do you suggest that other countries or people, other groups, should demonstrate their unhappiness with another country's, in this case Israel's, policy, if not through a peaceful action like a boycott? What should they do? I mean, this is not just something.
We speak out very clearly when we don't agree with Israel's policies, and that we don't think the settlements are legitimate. We say that very clearly and make that very clear, and work with the parties to get resolution on these issues through final status negotiations. That's how we think we should help resolve these issues that are really underneath the boycott issue.
Okay, but by your own admission, your speaking out against this particular policy hasn't had any effect.
I don't think I've ever said that.
Well, let's put it this way.
I think that's your analysis.
You speak out about them, and the Israelis keep doing it. Is that not correct?
Well, I think you're making a broad generalization. You have no idea what the impact always is of our private diplomatic discussions and what would have been done differently if we hadn't had those discussions. I actually am on a time schedule today, so we need to.
So you're saying that you think that the Israelis would be doing more of this if you hadn't been doing this?
I'm saying wouldn't make any assumptions, Matt, about the kind of leverage we have.
Well, let's go
Yep.
back 25, 30
I have about
years.
3 more minutes.
Sure, 25, 30 years, there was, as part of the anti-apartheid movement, a concerted effort on people who opposed the regime in South Africa to not spend money with companies that did business with that government, notably multinational oil companies. How is this situation with SodaStream any different?
Every situation is different, guys. Every single situation in every country, we have different policy and diplomatic and economic tools that we think are important in getting us to the policy goal we want in every country. I'm just not going to compare them.
And the U.S. doesn't consider Israel an apartheid state. I just want to clarify that.
Yes, correct.
So just going off this, is it the policy? Do you think it's fair to conflate the settlement issue writ large with this issue that has caused a lot of riffraff, which is the private company of SodaStream employing 250 people in a settlement and selling its products?
I'm sorry, I don't understand the gist of your question.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. We're all getting tangled up in words here.
Yeah,
I mean,
okay.
what we said is we don't support boycotts, we oppose them. Period, of Israel. So,
Okay.
I think that's pretty clear.
Under any circumstance?
Period.
Under any circumstance?
Matt, yes, we oppose them. I'm sure you will find some circumstance in 20 years where we would not, but
No,
right now, we do.
Okay.
This is going to be my last